Hey, everybody! Welcome to another edition of HaM Welcomes, where we have an artist come on, sit down, chat with them about their music, and take a look at music that they've brought along with them to share on the show. Basically, they build the playlist, and we go through that. Today, we're talking with David Rosen. This is the second episode of this show. Very happy to have David, and we'll get into all sorts of things today. Before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and introduce David. So here we go. All right, welcome, David.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Chad. And can I just say, like, right off the bat, both of those intro tracks, like, I don't even remember making those. So it's nice hearing them.
Yeah, no, that's one of the really cool things is that you do so much music and you have so much like unused music that
Oh,
you
yeah.
even forget what you even have.
Yeah.
When I started the show, I know you sent me like a whole bunch of stuff that basically, if anybody says, "Hey, I need some stuff," and they don't know what they need, you just send them this Dropbox, and
Yeah.
I found some really cool stuff, the stuff that I use normally for the regular ham show. And you were like, I don't remember that song, but it's really cool. I should release it.
I think you should use it. And I think I should do something with it at
Yeah,
some
for
point.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So very happy to have you here today. Before we get into any music or any discussion, though, I do want to say hello to everybody that is here in chat. I saw Pookie Ann was here first, and Pookie's going to miss the show, but she's going to rewatch. Pookie Ann's a big fan of music in general, and just a big part of the music community on YouTube. You're very much appreciated, Pookie. Axiom was here. The real Justine Kasprick. She is another one that's a big music fan, always around. Uh, Camellia, another one from Australia, musician herself. Um, and Kurt Kasprick, good to see you. I also saw Dom Torregrossa, and he is another great musician, big part of the community. Son of Snake, good to see you, Chris. And yeah, thank you all for watching. And hopefully, this will be a fun talk with a lot of different music and all sorts of directions we can go in because David Rosen does music and then also does music for film and then also does podcasts. Is been in tons of film festivals, has music that can be heard on television shows from time to time. He doesn't even know most of probably where he's being played.
Yeah.
He's got many different side projects that he's been involved with through the years. Some of them we won't discuss, but
Whatever you want to talk about.
so why don't you though talk a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, like you said, I am a musician. I usually go with that first and foremost, although, nowadays podcasting takes up an equal amount of my time. But yeah, I compose music for films, TV, all that kind of stuff. I also put out albums of instrumental music, which is all very inspired by the kinds of music that I love. And I like to kind of bring together all of my influences into one place and make music that I actually love listening to. And then that brings me to podcasting, which I host the Piecing It Together podcast, which Chad has been on hundreds of times, it feels like at this point. But, that has been going on for about 6 years now. It's a podcast
6 years.
movies. Six
Wow.
years. Yeah. It's about movies and the movies that inspired them. And each week I have guests on from all over the world who help me look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired them. And it's a fun, unique way to look at movies. I also produce Awesome Movie Year, which is another movie podcast, and I've worked on a bunch of other podcasts along the way.
Yeah. A political one, a food one. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, busy, busy, busy. I know that.
You know it. You know it.
And I was going to say also, if Harvey does interrupt at all, that's totally cool. Well,
Yeah.
Harvey is more than welcome to interrupt the show at any point, especially if he is in need of treats.
Yeah,
So,
Harvey's 16 and he is in his don't give a fuck phase. He just starts barking for treats whenever he wants. So,
one of the big reasons we wanted to do this show is that you set a goal for 2024, and talk a little bit about that.
yeah, so what the thing is it's called 24 for 2024. That's what my whole plan is, and I was kind of like looking at what I'm going to do musically after my last album, More Content. I had all this stuff that I was working on. I have an album coming out next year in 2025. That's called And Other Unexplained Phenomena, which I haven't put too much out about that yet, but that is the next full length album. But while working on that album, I was also working on dozens of other new songs that didn't fit that album. And I really didn't want to be like, well, I've got this album coming in 2025. So here's a whole bunch more songs that they'll come out in 2026 or 2027 or 20. I didn't want to like just keep waiting to release this stuff, but I also didn't want to put out an album before that. And I came up with this ridiculous idea. It's 2024. There's 24, tracks that I had ready. Plus 24 is, every other week basically. It just worked out perfectly. I was like, I could release the 24 best songs. There's maybe like 26 that were in the works, but the 24 best songs as singles on the first and third Friday of every month. And the thing is like, I'm not still working on it. Like, they are done. They are distributed. Like, when I log into my Spotify for Artists account, they're all sitting there and they all say coming soon. And every single one of them is already in the account, like ready to go. So I could get abducted by aliens today, and those songs will still keep coming out first and third Friday of every month. We're going to hear a couple of previews of some of those later, but so far, it's the end of January right now when we're doing this, and two of the songs have come out so far. And yeah, the next one will be out the first Friday of February.
Nice. And you not putting out a video with every one of them, but we'll definitely get some new videos throughout the year.
Yes, absolutely. I did put out a music video for the second track, Burn, which just came out. And that is actually a music video. And I think we're going to play it a little later and I'll talk about it more then. But that's one I've been sitting on for a while now. So I was so
Right.
happy to finally put that out. I will be doing another, the Rotor AI type videos. I'm going to do another one of those later this year. I'm also working on a stop motion animated music video with a visual artist, and we're collaborating on the idea right now, and hopefully that'll go into production soon. And then who knows, I'm hoping to collaborate with more people on more videos. Certainly a bunch of these tracks would really fit for some kind of visual
Right.
component. But yeah, I did use AI actually to make artwork for all of the songs of the 24, because you know I love collaborating with artists, but 24 pieces of art is kind of like overkill. And
Right.
so I
For sure.
decided to just screw around with that whole thing. And I came up with some pretty cool stuff. And I may or may not post videos that I recorded of me coming up with the artwork. They're pretty funny, but they're also kind of a mess and all over the place. But me just typing in prompts and getting just awful crap from
Right.
the AI software, and eventually landing on something that was cool. But yeah, so the visuals will be like animated versions that I created of the AI artwork that the AI created.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say AI. I really love AI art. I use it all the time for
Hmm.
thumbnails and such, and it's so easy. It's so ridiculous, and sometimes the simplest thing, it just can't get it, and it's so like,
Yeah.
what is it doing? So the thing that people are like, oh, it's going to replace human artwork. It never will it ever, because there's always going to be that need, and that's the thing
Right.
is like, with you needing 24 pieces of artwork, you weren't going to contact 24 different people, and you weren't going to have one artist do those 24 pieces. So you would have went without if it wasn't for AI. So
Right.
that's the thing. It's just enhancing. It's not taking away.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the thing. If it's used in a way to enhance what an artist can do, then it's cool. But if it's used to take away artists' jobs, that's when it's not cool. But
right.
yeah, there's so many times when there's this one song later this year called "Back into the Void," and I typed in "Back into the Void," and I got this shirtless guy strangling himself, and the hell are you? What are you on, AI? What's going on here?
Right. Back into the void. That's a good one to bring up. The video we just watched, Back into the Dark, and
Yes.
you mentioned also stop motion. So talk a little bit about this video, because this is one that you worked with an stop motion artist.
Yeah.
And what was the process? I mean, did you go to them with an idea, or did you give them the song and they just did it, or how did that process work?
This was one, and every video is a little different. Sometimes I have like the full idea. Sometimes I write out a whole script and send it to a filmmaker, but this was the complete opposite. I sent this artist, B. Landers, I sent her the song, and she ground up made the whole video. It was
Right.
her idea, everything visually that you see there. And I honestly couldn't be happier with it. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite music
Oh
videos
yeah.
that I've put out. It's just so cool, and I've always loved stop motion, and she is really talented. And I don't know what she's working on nowadays. Like, I see her on Instagram, but like I haven't seen her put out like another like full project like this where it's like a full-fledged
Right.
music video or something. But she's super talented, and I hope that she does more stuff in the future. Hopefully I could collaborate with her again in the future,
Right.
because yeah, that video is super cool, and I think the visuals match the dramatic darkness of the song so well.
Yeah, and I was looking at it. It was selected for 12 different festivals and won one festival for
Yeah.
best music video, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think that you do that a lot of independent artists don't realize is something out there to collab with filmmakers, one, and then also to take that and then to enter that into film festivals. And I think that's a good way to get yourself out there. Um,
Exactly, exactly, and especially for, like, artists like me, and I mean, I know a lot of the artists that you play on the show are probably not, "bands," quote, unquote, who, like,
right,
are
right.
touring and doing shows and,
Hmm.
like, the whole thing. So, to be able to go to an event, a film festival,
Right,
and they play your music, and then people could talk to you afterwards about how they like it, or, what they thought of it or whatever,
right,
like, it's the version of touring that I've ever gotten to do with what I
right.
do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we will probably talk more on videos and film festivals as the show goes, but definitely want to get into some of the new music. So the first one that you released this year, cover of The Cure, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. The first cover I've ever tried to do, The Cure has always been my favorite band and also the biggest influence on my music, and so it made sense to do a Cure cover for my first ever cover. And I originally did this for a compilation album that all the proceeds went to charity. It was called Pictures of You, a Cure covers album, and that whole album of covers is available and still out there. But I got all the necessary rights and
Right.
everything to be able to release this as a single.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on Bandcamp, I do believe. I
Yeah,
purchased that whole album actually. I have not listened to the full thing yet.
it's
But
pretty cool. I listened to it
yeah,
like, one solid way through. I've never been big on listening to covers because they just made me want to go listen to the original, but it was certainly fun to work on one.
right. So we will get into this. This is the Hanging Garden, a cover from David Rosen doing The Cure. He has not put out a video for this, so he just made a little visualizer for this. So although the song is out there, the video's not. So this is one of three exclusives. The other two are actually songs you will not hear anywhere else. But this one you can listen to it elsewhere. So here we go. Such a cool cover. I love that you've been doing more with vocals added to your songs. I know that's something that has slowly been happening here and there, and I think it really helps enhance it. Um, with this one, similar to the cover you did of a Britney Spears song,
Yeah, yeah.
which I don't know if that one's coming this year or not, but I wish that that's part of the 24.
It's not part of the 24,
Ah,
but it may be like a surprise release in between tracks at some point.
awesome,
I wanna go
awesome.
back and play with it a little bit more and then see about releasing that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was that was fun to work on too.
Yeah. So if y'all didn't see the Britney Spears show, that's the only place you can hear the cover that David did on "Till the World Ends,"
Yeah.
which similar in the way that he took the chorus and repeated it as the vocals. I really dig that style, and that gives it almost that you know. You had those people like Chemical Brothers and who's the other one I'm thinking of? The electronica music did a
Sure.
lot of that, where they would just take the one piece and just kind of repeat it, and I think it works really well though with your music.
Right
So,
on.
um, you mentioned The Cure. Of course, that was a cover of theirs. You said one of your biggest inspirations. What are some of the other inspirations as far as your music?
So, I mean, I always cite, Depeche Mode and Nine Inch Nails as my other main ones, but,
Mm,
I also have always been, really into the Ravenettes. They're, like, my favorite band of,
mm,
like, the last 20 years, and I'm always, like, kind of chasing what they do, with
right,
what I do. Um, I also, of course, love Michael Jackson. You and I have talked
right,
about that
right.
a million times, and,
Yes, and I
my
always hear Michael sneak through from time to time.
yeah, if only I was a little funkier, I'd be able to, really capture it, but I'm
Yeah,
certainly trying. Also, I like a lot of 90s hip hop, and so, a lot of Wu-Tang, like, gets into kind of the sounds of my production,
right.
so that's certainly there, and then, of course, as somebody who works in film score, that stuff creeps its way into
Yeah,
my, influences as well, whether it's, the big guys, the Zimmers and all that,
right,
or,
right.
smaller people, but, just film scores in general.
Yeah, for sure. And not to mention rainy days, because your
Sure.
your music is always perfect for a rainy day.
Yeah.
It's a
Thank you.
perfect. It just fits. And like yesterday and today, where I am, it's been David Rosen music time. So
Nice. Nice. Yeah, definitely rainy day music always.
and spooky season music too.
Yeah.
Always because there's a lot of darkness, and I feel sadness. I mean, of course, we're talking about your biggest influence is The Cure, so
Of
obviously
course.
that's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always on the darker side, and I think the fact that you've done so much work in like you know low budget horror movies, and that it just fits so well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I should also add, I mentioned Another Unexplained Phenomena, which is my 2025 album. That album, it's kind of a concept album in a way
Mm,
because the whole goal for that one was to just really lean into that. It's
right,
like my darkest and most melancholy and
right,
spookiest and
awesome,
rainy day music. Like I don't even attempt to go more upbeat or,
nice,
cheerful or anything. It's
nice,
just pure dark from beginning to end. So it's gonna be very me.
awesome.
Yeah.
I did want to say hello to a couple of people that joined us. I see Blue Unicorn and Not Crazy by Crazy Lady and Michael Songs. Of course, Son of Snake is here, and he was talking about he really liked the visual on that one we just watched. Son of Snake is the one that I had reached out to you about how you had done the video with the AI video with the
Mm,
clips and such,
yeah.
because Sonic Snake is a fantastic artist with all of this music, but he didn't have any videos yet, and so basically, what was the Rooter?
Rotor. Yeah.
Rotor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I introduced that to Rotor, and that was like giving the keys to the candy store to
Right.
the candy lover, because he has now gotten into AI art, and he makes these fantastic like videos now. He churns out like a video almost like every week. I'm not lying, and it's all actually just thanks to you and providing me with the information that I passed along. That kind of got him rolling in that direction, and I think he
That's
kind of got
awesome.
the bug for music video making, which I think that's the thing is that there's so many great artists out there that don't have visuals, and I think that's a big part of helping to get your music out there. Obviously, you fully agree with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I as much as I love just sitting around and listening to music, I don't think that's how most people get attracted to music. I think most people need that visual component, and so it's really it's really helpful with getting it out there. And then also it's just cool. Like I when something really comes together in a way like that, Back into the Dark, or like anything where like you get that finished thing and you could just sit and watch it and like be totally engulfed by all of it. It's just like kind of like hell yeah, you know?
Right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Son of Snake likes candy.
Yeah,
I am glad you do too. And just so you know, David, Son of Snake is an awesome art musician to collab with. He does a lot of punk music. You have any inclination of doing any sort of collab that leans into punk? He also is great though with metal as well.
right
Man,
on.
you should definitely connect with him because he is really super fast too. Um, just yesterday, I was asking him if he had any interest of doing anything for my new metal show that I've got coming up in February. And I
Mhm.
said, not only am I doing straight up new metal, I'm also, going to include the precursors to new metal, the power groove stuff like Pantera and Helmet. And he's like, "Oh, I love Helmet." Hits me up today. Got the song done. I just got to do the vocals now. So that's how quick he is.
Yeah,
So
that would be a fun
yeah.
collab for sure.
um, saw Fish 1999 here. Also Conspiracy Music. Good to see both the um, so cool. Um, and so with you, there's so many different things that I could talk about, and so there's so many different directions, and I definitely want to leave music at the forefront. So why don't we go ahead though right now because we mentioned a little bit about Burn, and that video. That was something the video wise that is from many years ago, and you just felt that this song I guess, fit with those visuals and decided, since we are going to put that song out this year, to turn this into a video.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a longer story than that, but I mean, yeah, the initial idea was for the song 1000 Years from my first album, Echoes in the
Mm.
Dark, which is 2013 for those keeping track. But yeah, no, I never was able to like, get it done. I just didn't really have access to any kind of artist that was
Mm.
able to kind of bring that vision to life. And then in 2020 is when I met the guy who was the person who eventually ended up doing it. And when he was working on that video, it didn't really work out timing wise to end up on my 2020 album, David Rosen, the self-titled David Rosen
Right.
album. And then the song just didn't really fit on more content either. And so the song and video have just been sitting there like
Mm.
finished since 2021. And yeah, now I finally am able to release it because I have this whole crazy 24 for 2024 idea. And it just was the
Right.
perfect place to just be like, you know what? That is a good way to finally release this thing.
Right. Well, what I love about this whole 24 for 24 is it's kind of like the whole B-sides rarities kind of box set thing that artists would do,
Yeah.
in the CD heydays. So I think it's fun. That's me. Anytime you can kind of sort of package something in a fun way, and I think you're the same way, and that just kind of came together with you with the 24 and the 24. So I
Yeah.
really just love that idea.
Yeah, and
Um,
also another thing is I easily could have just been like, you know what, screw it, 24 songs, new album, and put it out.
right.
The thing is though, is every time I do that, and like I said, I'm gonna do it again in 2025. I love albums. I love the album format. I'm old and like I still stick to that, you know. But every time I do that, it's like, hey guys, new album out. Give it a listen. And then a week later, I'm like, hey guys, did you check out the new album? Give it a listen. And then a week later, it's like, hey guys, remember that new album? Give it a listen. And then a week later, it's done. It's gone. No one's ever going to see it ever again. You know, so this way I'm just going to keep having new stuff every other
Right.
week for the whole damn year.
Right.
And I'm going to annoy the hell out of everybody with it. And I'll probably be back on your show like at least once a month.
Well, and that's the other thing is that like, you know, trying to find out like what's the best way to release music these days. It's really
Hmm.
hard because, back in the day, there was, you know, uh, kind of a set date for the physical album, and then before that there was lead up to it, and then after that there was, whatever promotion. But nowadays, so much, and this goes with national artists, there's so much of just kind of here today, gone tomorrow, like
Yeah.
mentality. It just really, it is an odd place to be as far as like how do you properly, release music. I know you asked me recently, like, should I release more singles or should I release EPs or
Yeah.
what's the best way to do it? And I think this is a good, fun, experimental way to kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it bugs me not putting an album out this year, but at the same time, I'm interested to see how it works.
Yeah.
So, you know, we will see as the months go on.
Have you thought maybe at the end of the year, then like you've released all the tracks and here's the album kind of way of releasing?
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. I know that because I distribute my music through CD Baby, and I know that they do have a method for doing that, for taking
Hmm.
all the tracks that you've released and then, you know, compiling them into an album and then releasing it
Right.
that way afterwards. So I may eventually do that. Then you lose all the artwork though and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Burn, we're going to go to this one. And I remember when I first saw this, I was like, it's very much like a superhero witch. I can just see this as a superhero witch uh, anthem, for a series. I really,
Nice.
really dig it. Cool, cool video and a great song. Now, this one I will be dropping the link because this is one that is out. So let's go to that right now. Burn from David Rosen. Great song, super cool video. Yeah, and works so well with the music and the visuals on that.
Thank
Um,
you.
Big fan of that one. Um, when you were, hoping to do a video, how do you go about, I guess, finding somebody as far as a director, visual artist or whoever to work with? What's the best way for, a musician that's like, hey, I got this really great song, I got this idea, I want to get somebody involved with it. What's the approach you use?
I got to admit, it used to be a little easier,
Hmm.
and that's part of the reason why I haven't been putting out quite as many lately.
Hmm.
I don't know why that is exactly, but like the boards that used to be like the various like even something like Craigslist or whatever where you could
Hmm.
post something, those things have just been so flooded by spam, it's just out
Right.
of control nowadays. So nowadays it's more about the mingling and networking and all that stuff. Like
Right.
the girl who I'm currently working with for a video for later this year, I met her at the Nevada Women's Film Festival this
Right.
year. So it's just again, it's just being out around creative people and striking up
Right.
conversations and that whole thing. In the past, like I met so many people online that I ended up working with on some of these
Right.
videos, and that made things easier. But like I said, nowadays it's a little tough for those
Right.
kind of connections to happen, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So there's not like a, hey, go to Twitter, hey, go to Facebook, or
Good
yeah.
lord, do not go to
Yeah.
Twitter. You type I typed on Twitter, that I'm looking for, a visual artist or whatever, and I got literally like 60 messages in 10 seconds, and they're all from just bots from all over the place. Like, ugh, I
Right.
wish you could go to Twitter and
Yeah.
get it. Like,
Right.
I would pay you people, but they're not real.
One thing I've heard that I didn't even think of doing is that some people have used Fiverr for actually music videos. Never tried Fiverr at all.
I haven't yet. A while ago, I had this stupid idea of going to Fiverr and like getting 30 videos from different people and then just
Right.
mashing them together. But I don't know.
Right.
I One of these days I might. I'm a little weary of Fiverr only because there's just so much to it. There's such a range of
Oh
experiences
yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
people. So it's like
Yeah.
it just makes me a little bit nervous. But
Yeah.
that's where something like we were talking about already, Rotor is a really cool version of like what you might get, what your
Right.
final result might be from something like Fiverr. And I
Yeah.
know there's other things, there's other competitors to Rotor. That's just the one that I've worked with so far.
Yeah.
But there are, things out there that will make videos. And now, especially with AI tools, like there's starting to be even
Oh yeah.
more, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say so that like if somebody doesn't have anything and they want to start somewhere, at least go to Rotor or also Video Bolt is a good one if you just want
Yeah.
visualizers, lyric videos, and things of that nature. I have been using Fiverr way back in the Polygrind days, and my headphones and microphone HaM logo, I got that off of Fiverr, so I use it for visual artist. You do really have to like do some digging and searching to
Yeah.
find what you want, and then say yes, that's what I want, and here's how I want you to do it. And but I imagine there is a lot of scamming on there as well. Um,
Yeah, that's the tough thing. But I
yeah,
mean, that's why you just gotta, put yourself out there and just hang out in things like this and film festivals and just anywhere where there's people that are creative and those
right.
people know other people.
Yeah, for sure. So, why don't we go to the next video, which is one that has not come out, and when is it coming out? The Afterglow.
This is Afterglow. I believe this one is in April, if I'm
Okay,
remembering correctly. But yeah, this one is a super cool one here. I got it right here. Actually, it's March 1st.
March. Okay,
Yeah. So yeah, this is a super cool, like almost a little bit sexy track. And it's a little different for me, but I really like this one.
any plan for a video or anything, or
I would
Not for
love
March.
to have a video. I did talk to somebody about one, but, that fell through, unfortunately, but I would love to, hopefully, the opportunity arises, and that's one thing, like, over these years of doing all these videos, like, a long time ago, I looked at albums and all this stuff as like, the old mentality of like, it comes out, you promote it for months and
Hmm.
months, and then it's kind of the old thing and you move on to the new thing.
Hmm.
But I definitely want to go back and do music videos for some of my older songs.
Oh yeah,
There's just no reason not to. And so, like,
yeah,
yeah, a video for Afterglow could definitely be really cool.
yeah. That's the thing is that the where we are now. I mean, really more than ever. Music in itself is timeless, and the way things just kind of come and go, or more of not even come and go, just kind of sit.
Yeah,
There's no reason that you can't do a video of a song. Doesn't matter when it came out as far
absolutely.
as a song. So I totally agree with that.
Time is made
So
up.
it is really. So this is one won't be dropping a link or anything because it is an exclusive. It's not coming out until March, and here we go. Afterglow from David Rosen. As soon as there we go. Yeah, dig that one. That one definitely, some of that Michael Jackson influence comes through.
I thought you'd like that, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking about it while I was playing that and one other song called The Night It All Changed, which will be out in February, are the only two songs of the entire 24 for 2024 that were brand new, like started in
Mm.
2023.
Oh,
That
nice.
specifically, Afterglow was the last song I started. I didn't start that one until September of last year. So that's like the newest song that I've made and recorded and released, like, which is kind of cool. It just kind of shows you where I'm at, I guess, musically.
Right. Yeah. No, very, very cool. Yeah, so like as far as since you brought that up, that those were the ones actually done in 2023. The other ones, how far back do some of them go as far as when wrote them and
They
finished them?
go they go as far back as 2017,
Hmm.
which is like insane. But that's like you mentioned earlier, like the B-sides collections and stuff like that.
Right.
Like that is kind of where this all started, even though none of these songs do I see as things that I ever planned on not releasing or like having
Right.
as just bonus tracks. Like they were all just songs that simply didn't fit. Like
Right.
that, a song in 2017, which is when I put out my album, A Different Kind of Dream. A song, I decided that album would be 10 songs, so there just wasn't room for others. And then when 2020 came around and I put out the self-titled album, there's a couple of tracks in this 24 series that sound a little bit like songs that were on that album, and I didn't want
Right.
two songs on the same album that had a similar vibe.
Right.
So it's like all these tracks that are just sitting there either finished or close to finished. But
Right.
yeah, last year was just a big year of cleaning out the closet and
Right.
really getting back to all this stuff and finishing it all.
Nice. Um, and I had a question and it slipped my mind.
It'll come back.
Something you said sparked it, and then you said something else, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's gone." Uh,
A Different Kind of
yeah.
Dream,
Oh, no, no,
B-sides.
no, no. Oh yeah, I know what it was. I know what it was because you were
All
saying that
right.
the new album is like a concept album, and it seems that your albums are essentially kind of concept albums in a way. Anyhow, especially since you're talking about how things didn't necessarily fit
Right.
with previous albums, definitely makes me feel like that there was definitely a concept that you had with those albums, and then that's why certain ones didn't make
Sure.
the cut.
Yeah, and I think that, like, when I use the term concept album, like, it's like almost like a super concept album, like it's very dialed into a very
Right.
specific thing with this new album coming out next year,
Right.
whereas these ones, yeah, all of them have, like, a specific vibe I'm going for, and I definitely put a lot of thought into play
Right.
order and track selection and
Yeah.
just how the album will play out, even without words, even though it's all
Right.
instrumental. Like I still want everything to kind of tell its own little story and everything to fit together really well. And so that's part of that old school album mentality, I think.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely love that. I mean, that's the thing, is that everything comes back to storytelling, and I
Yeah,
think that music, that's one of the beautiful things of music. And your songs, like when you put them on, you can definitely see like a story play out. Of course, my story may not be matching what your story is or what you thought of when you came up with it, but there's definitely like a story that comes to mind, and for each little piece to kind of then come collectively together to tell a bigger story. That to me is the ultimate with albums.
yeah.
Part of the reason I feel like that albums should even exist, because I know some of my favorites that they're essentially concept albums.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I wish I could tell those stories visually with every one of these songs and make a music video
Right.
for all of them, but it's a little tough, but
Yeah. And until the technology gets there where we can just plug up our mind and download the
yeah.
the visuals. We're
Yeah.
getting there. We're getting there.
I'll probably be about 80 at the time, but I'll still be making music, so
Yeah. Wanted to say hello to Roque. Great to see you here. Roque is an amazing composer. He does all sorts of music from symphonic to like progressive rock, all instrumental, and he does really cool videos using mostly public domain, but he always kills it. And good to see you, Steve-O. Um, yeah, I'm glad for the turnout we've had with people coming by. Um, and lots of music to still get to here. And we'll see how much we definitely had six specific songs that we were going to play, and then if there's a little bit more time, there's a couple of others that will get squeezed in.
Cool.
So up next, why don't we go ahead and go to another exclusive, Almost Human, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this one definitely was in the works since A Different Kind of Dream. I even know what song it was paired with. It was the track Invisible on that album. I was like, this is a little too close to that. I don't need two upbeat, dancey tracks on the same album. So I held on to it, and I'm glad I did because it really wasn't that good back then. And it's really become really awesome in the few years since then as I've built it up and really turned it into what it's become. But yeah, this one will be out, I believe, November 1st. It's definitely November, whatever the first Friday of November is. And yeah, it's a really upbeat track and very electronic.
Right. So it's the first no the first Friday and the third Friday each
Yes.
month. Okay,
Yep.
and that'll be basically everywhere, Spotify and
Yep.
iTunes. Okay,
All the
cool.
above. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. So we will go to that one. Almost Human. Any sort of message or story? Because obviously, we were talking about AI a lot today, and this one
Very
called
AI artwork. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I don't know. I just kept picturing a robot dancing. And so it said, AI, give me a robot dancing. And it came up with this weird robot woman. And so I went with that. So,
Right. Awesome.
yeah.
All right. So here we go with Almost Human. This is another exclusive, so I won't be sharing any link for it. You'll have to wait till later in the year to actually listen to it again, unless you just re listen to it on this show. So here
That's
we go.
right.
Oh, I can't stop laughing at that comment. She does, she does look mad. That is for sure.
Mm.
So was it influenced by Ex Machina or what was
Oh
the
yeah,
other one? The one you loved, the doll. Oh,
oh, Megan.
Megan. Yeah,
Yeah,
I kept thinking Mandy, and I'm like, it's not Mandy. I know it's not Mandy. Megan.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Killer dolls with style for sure. You guys couldn't see me, but I was Night at the Roxburying through the whole song. I was doing this.
Yeah. Good stuff. And yes, definitely wash the bathtub. Otherwise, the robot is going to kill you. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
lesson here. She's gonna dance though. Well, she's
Mhm.
um. Oh man. Too good, fish. Thank you so much for being here. Um. And that's one of the other things is that I would say not only are you inspired by music film scores, but such a big movie lover as myself that you find a lot of your music just kind of being inspired and influenced by just various movies that you're a fan of.
Yeah, I think so for sure. We always talk puzzle pieces on my Piecing It Together
Hmm.
podcast, but like, yeah, it's like you can picture, as you're working on a piece of music, like what movie does it kind of remind you of a little bit,
Right,
and then you start thinking about the sounds, you think about the score, you think about like the vibe of the whole thing,
right.
and that sometimes definitely leads you in certain places.
Right. Yeah, so for like that song there, definitely you know, glowing neon and robots definitely even though it wouldn't have fit it all for some reason Blade Runner kept coming to mind.
Sure.
But it
Yeah.
just, you definitely get a visual from the sounds that you're hearing.
Yeah.
Um so really cool.
Right on.
Um somebody was comparing it to early techno. Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
cool with
think
that.
so what you do, I know genre is kind of always a tough thing for an artist to
Mm,
box themselves into.
yeah.
But these days, I kind of feel that genre is almost like super important because Spotify and iTunes and all of these different, so that the algorithm knows what to do with you and where to feed you. I think that genre is always super important. So, what do you generally say as far as what your sound is, your style is?
I have no fucking idea. That's that's what I say. No, on Spotify, if you have the artist account, you every time you have a new piece of music coming out, you could pitch yourself to the editors to hopefully get some little boost of promotion
Right.
from them. And yeah, it's got like there's only like 12 like sounds that you can choose from,
Mm,
and never do any of them line up with anything that I'm making. And I'm just like, I don't know, other, I guess, like, yeah, it's really tough. And I agree with you too. Like it would make it so much easier if I was a rock guy, you know what I mean? Or if I was rap, or if I was specifically new age even, or something like
right.
that, but it's just all these different styles mixed together. Each track is different, and
Right.
so
Right.
it's just, yeah, it's really, really difficult in my shoes.
Right. Hey,
Mm.
and I mean, if somebody asks you though, like let's just say, filmmaker or a somebody that doesn't know, but maybe somebody that just has an interest and maybe would want to work with you. I mean, what do you say as far as your music?
I usually like my go-to if I have to use one word, it's electronica,
Right.
but, I don't even know for sure what that means, because I know there's probably like a very rigid definition that I
Right.
don't necessarily fit into electronica, but, sometimes I'll say instrumental alternative music,
Mm,
but, yeah, again, it's just so difficult, but yeah,
right.
electronica is usually like category number 1 that I click on
Right.
if it has to be specific things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so electronica definitely makes sense. And then just, yeah, is there a dark electronica or
Yeah, there
yeah,
probably is, but then
dark
it doesn't sound like me apparently. But
dark new age, dark
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. And didn't you say at some point like you were somehow, I don't know if it was your music was being recommended or you were being recommended, but shoegaze was a genre that seemed to come
yeah.
up.
Which everything that I see described as shoegaze, I'm like, oh yeah, I do like that. Like, but I also don't really know how the hell you would describe shoegaze. So I mean, whatever, that's cool. I'm down. That works for me.
And then I remember you had posted that at some point, and then I think it was Jason Harris was like, "You're not shoegaze. I like shoe," or it may have been one of the podcasts. I listen to
Damn hipster.
shoegaze. You are not shoegaze.
He's such a hipster. Uh Fish in the chat said progressive rock and like is a good genre for like sci-fi films and like yeah I've sometimes thought about like is some of what I do progressive rock, but I don't know if it's guitar driven enough my stuff, like even though I do include a lot of guitars on like especially lately on a lot of my stuff.
Right,
I think as soon as somebody hears a song without a guitar in it, they're like, you're not progressive rock,
right,
so again it's just like another tough one.
right. Yeah. Um, so we're gonna go to some other videos, ones that have been out, because even though we haven't played that many videos today, videos I do feel are a big part of what you do. And one of your recent ones, which was a film score that you had worked on, Blind Malice,
Mhm.
and just talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, so Blind Malice is a film from a director named Chris Johnson, who is really at this point the person I've worked with the most on films. I've scored two feature films for him, and I think we're up to 8 or 9 shorts. And then he also directed
Nice.
2 of my music videos. So yeah, we've worked on a lot of stuff, and we actually just finished another short, and I'll be doing another short for him later this year. So yeah, we have a really good thing, and Blind Malice is a kind of campy, over the top horror short about a blind serial killer. And I went really big with this score. And so I decided to release it as its own soundtrack album just because it's. I just was really happy with how it all came out. And it's just so big. And like I said, it's kind of a campy film. So I was able to just go as big as I wanted. And so it was very like show offy. And so for this music video, I took a whole bunch of clips from the film itself, which isn't out yet. He's still doing the festival circuit. It's actually gotten into a couple of festivals over the last few
Nice.
months. But once it's done with the festival circuit, I'm sure it'll be up on YouTube and all that stuff. But yeah, I took a bunch of clips from it, mashed them together, added some like layered effects and stuff like that to just, amp up the music video-ness of it all. And yeah, it's for the main theme from the film that actually in the movie plays over the end credits.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, that's one of the things that's cool about working with filmmakers and having your music in their films is that then being able to either work with them to have them do like a video for you with clips, or in this case, that was one of the things I was going to ask is, how did the video come about? So that
Yeah.
was cool though that he just gave you some clips and then you.
He gave me the
Uh,
whole thing because
oh, okay,
I just
okay,
asked him in advance. Of course, I wasn't going to just do it without asking him.
right,
But
right, right.
I was like, "Can I cut your film up into a music video?" And he was like, "Just don't spoil the ending." And I was
Right.
like, "Cool, I can do
Yeah.
that." So.
Awesome. All right. Well, here is Blind Malice from David Rosen. Yeah, I love that you put out the scores or the songs from different film projects that you work on. Um,
Yeah.
and as far as that, where is that available? The score.
That score is on all of the streaming services. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. I do have a couple of exclusive film scores that I decided not to release as like actual albums, but over on my
Hmm.
Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, there's some bonus ones, including another feature that I scored for Chris Johnson called Jacqueline, which is another horror film. And so, yeah, I'm actually in the next month or so, I'm planning on preparing another score for a canceled film that kind of fell apart, but I had already finished like half of the music for it.
Right.
So I was thinking about taking that music and putting it together as like an exclusive album on the Patreon too. But yeah, I've released three film score albums so far. It just depends, like sometimes the score can be a lot, really subtle, and it really wouldn't make sense to be like its own album. But with these three that I put out, they really like feel like something you could still listen to on their own aside from the film itself.
Right. And since you mentioned the Patreon, um, why don't you talk a little bit more about that? Because basically, you've got the podcast, and then also some exclusives of your music when people are part of that.
Yeah.
So just I'm gonna get that pulled up here, and
Yeah.
then I'll drop the link. And why don't you just tell people a little bit about what you do with your Patreon?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously produced by David Rosen. My music is produced by me, and then I produce these two movie podcasts. So, as far as my music is concerned, I was just talking about the exclusive albums that I've been putting on there. Also, early access to some songs, like some of these 24 for 2024 songs are already up there early, and I'll probably add a couple more later, before they actually come out on the streaming services. I also put like alternate versions of songs, demo versions of songs, and yeah, a lot of really cool stuff from my music. And then for piecing it together, I put early access to episodes before I actually put them out onto the main services. And then with Awesome Movie Year, we usually do a bonus episode for each season, and then the bonus episode will eventually make its way out to the services, but it stays for like an entire season, which is usually about 3 months. It stays as an exclusive over there on the Patreon. And so, yeah, just lots of great stuff that you can get early access to. And then in the case of my music, some of it is just always exclusive to the Patreon. I don't really plan on releasing those
Right.
exclusives anywhere else. And yeah, it's just another way, to get support as an artist. It's hard
Right.
nowadays, and
Yeah.
streaming is cool and all, but streaming doesn't cost anybody anything, and you don't
Right.
you don't make any
Right.
money off of it. So
Yeah.
it's great that there are some people out there who want to continue supporting me, even though they can listen to everything for free.
Right. Yeah. And one of the great things that I was checking to see if you still had the bonus content
Mhm.
tier. What can people get if they were to sign up for that level?
That is where you get all of the so the $5 a month is where you get basically everything, all of the music and the podcast. There's also $3 a month is just the podcast. And then $10, I also send you a digital download of all my albums. And then the $20 you get CDs. So I'm gonna kind of rework those last two because they're a little wordy. but but definitely the three and the
Yeah.
$5 are like the main ones where like you either get all the podcast stuff or all the podcast and music stuff.
Right. I also wanted to bring up the Bandcamp page
Yes.
because I'll be honest, I know about Bandcamp and Bandcamp Friday from you because
Yeah.
I I actually Patreon too. That was another one because I was like, wait, you're doing one of those things like the girls that take the photos, and you were like, no, 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 that's
I'm sure that'll
OnlyFans.
be next. That'll be next.
So you do have physical CDs, and then not only your digital versions, but as a musician, how has Bandcamp helped as far as like actually getting in some little bit of revenue, especially with Bandcamp Friday, which is back next Friday.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so tough nowadays. Like, it's really kind of the only place for an independent artist to sell their music anymore, especially physical copies. Like you said, there's CDs available here on my Bandcamp,
Hmm.
and there's not really other storefronts anymore. And you could build your own storefront on your own website, but no one's going to click on that. And
Right.
Bandcamp makes it more of a community type thing, and people can see what you have bought and then they can go check that out because you bought it. And so it's all like a social network type thing built into it as well. So that really helps. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like I said, all this music, you can literally stream it on Bandcamp. Since it's available on Spotify and Apple Music, I was like, what am I going to not allow you to stream it on Bandcamp too?
Right.
So I turned that option on, and yeah, you can listen to it
Right.
right there for free. But if you like it, you can buy a digital download, and you can order one of the limited edition CDs. And I'm hoping in the next year or two to finally make a vinyl. I'm thinking
Oh.
about doing a not exactly a greatest hits collection, but maybe like a favorites collection, because my albums are too long. It would cost so much money to make like a double or triple vinyl album. So I'd probably do like a 10 favorite songs collection or something like that. That would fit all on one record. But yeah, I'm hoping to do that though soon. It's just super expensive to make them, so I kind of have to like know for sure. Like, I got some people who are going to buy this damn thing. So
Right. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Bandcamp Friday, on that day, 93% of what you spend goes to the artist. So if you are looking to potentially buy some stuff, support an artist, Bandcamp Friday is definitely the day to you know. Go over and do that. I don't think they've announced their full schedule for the year, but this coming Friday is Bandcamp Friday, and we try to support it with the Friday show whenever Bandcamp Friday happens, and also in my Facebook group. And I try to do a little bit of helping to support artists, even if it's just like buying a single here and there from somebody, because
yeah,
I think every little bit just it helps.
it definitely
Especially
does.
if I'm a big believer in if you love something, you got to support it. This is not only national movies and artists, but also the small guys. They need it more.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, in this day and age, it really is the worst trying to, I guess, do what you love and scrape by best you can.
Yeah,
So
it's tough. It's tough. And attitudes on what people want to actually pay for is, they've changed over the last 20
oh
years.
yeah,
And so it's difficult. But yeah, we do appreciate anyone who goes and buys an album. It definitely, one CD sold is probably about as much as you make off streaming in a year. So
right,
so
right,
yeah, be that one. And
yeah. And you mentioned vinyl, which I think that would be great. I mean, a greatest hits though might kind of be like kind of novel because people might be like, if they don't know you and then they see greatest hits, they're like, "Ooh, this guy
yeah,
must be a big thing." So I don't know. Greatest hits might be a way to
maybe I
go.
will call it greatest hits. Yeah, good idea.
You could, or if not greatest hits, at least best of. I
Yeah.
mean, either way, because a best of or greatest hits is kind of the same thing. Instead of your favorites, this at least gives that perception of, oh, this guy's a big deal.
The thing
And
is, I got to do it soon because I already have a 10-track like list that I kind
right.
of thought about this a couple of years ago, but now I'm releasing all this other music and I'm like, well, now I want these songs on there. And so I'm going to drive myself crazy if I don't do
Well,
it quick.
that's for volume two. You do the
Yeah.
first one, and then volume two, and then
Yep.
then you repackages it as a double.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
And so vinyl though has been a big part of your life. Would you not say?
Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
My family has a record store here in Las Vegas called Wax Trax Records, and that is where I work during the day with my parents. Well, with my dad, my mom's not there, and they people come from like all over the world for this store because it is just like basically a museum of vinyl
Hmm.
and memorabilia. It's 3 floors. It's like an old gutted out house, and it's 3 floors. You practically have to step over stuff because it's just so
Yeah,
jam packed full
you
of
do.
vinyl. It's insane. And my dad's specialty is like rarer stuff. So like, yeah, you can go to like a lot of other record stores and see lots of vinyl, but you don't see this vinyl. Like you don't see these original pressings and stuff like that. And it's a very unique kind of place. And it's really cool. And people who come to Vegas who are music people should all definitely come check it out. And yeah, I mean, definitely, like you said, music and vinyl have been in my life my whole life.
Right. And you got a couple of famous people that come by the store from time to time, right?
Yeah.
Who's the one guy? I think I heard of him before.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
he's
he did a
a
song
little
with
bit
Britney
famous.
Spears
Yeah.
and Eminem, and
Yeah, Chad is referring to Sir Elton John, who is a big customer of the store and used to come in all the time when he had his Las Vegas residency. Now still orders from us. He emails back and forth with my
mm,
dad, and they're just like old buddies the way that they bitch back and forth at each other. But he's bought everything at this point, though, so there's not really that much left for him to buy. But he just places orders hundreds of records at a time. But
right.
he loves music.
Yeah, it's so cool. Any other people though that you could think of off the top of your head that
George
have come
Carlin
through?
was a big one.
Nice.
He was with us back when we were in Pennsylvania before we moved to Vegas, and then he came to
Mm,
the Vegas store also a
nice.
whole bunch, and he was awesome. And yeah, I mean, there's been other people in the store. Joe Jackson came into the store once.
Oh,
Biz Marquee was in the store.
did you throw Joe Jackson out? Did you
My
say
dad
get
should
out of
have.
here?
I wasn't there that day, but he should have for sure.
You said Bismarcky. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
see that. Yeah,
He just
for sure.
randomly showed up while we were opening. We hadn't
Mm,
unboxed the boxes yet, and
mm.
he was, like, literally going through our boxes. It was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, yeah. And your dad is such a character. So I can imagine him and Bismarcky and him with Elton John.
Yeah.
Like you said, I could just imagine those emails.
Oh,
They're probably wild.
so ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But, yeah, and you can hear my dad and my mom on my podcast once in a while. They were just at my most recent live show, and they interrupted the whole goddamn time. It was just absolute mess, but, everyone loved it, so,
Yeah, yeah. It's always so super fun when they come on your show.
yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love Sonny and Rich. They are so fantastic. Um, I want to say hello to the Falcro, Kiora to you. Great to see you today. Talking with David Rosen today. And yeah, the Wax Trax Records, if you're in Vegas, I dropped a link for that. If you visit Vegas and you're a big fan of vinyl, you definitely gotta go and see this place. So yeah, it basically is kind of uh, anything and everything. And like, if I remember right, it's like you go into the bathroom and it's just like there's vinyl, there's vinyl. It's
Yeah.
like anywhere, everywhere.
It's
So
the rockabilly section, actually. So, yeah.
awesome, so cool. Um, yeah, so wanted to go to another video. So I did pick out a couple for today. This one was another one, kind of like Blind Malice, where it was from. Well, this was a feature film, and you didn't do a score or anything. You just did this song, I do believe, Heidi.
Right. Well, technically, I did a couple of other little cues for it, but
Hmm.
it's since it's a found footage movie, obviously it doesn't have score,
Hmm.
because it's supposed to be a found tape. But yeah, so mainly it's just this song.
Yeah. And this video was on the director's channel. It was the one I actually forgot about, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, what happened to that video?" Because it's so cool, and it is such a fun song. And anybody that likes creepy dolls and darkness, the whole mesh of like uh, creepy childhood
Mhm.
memories. It's just absolutely fantastic. So, how did something like that come around? Though was that the director said, "Hey, I want this song, I want this style," and you just kind of did what you
Yeah.
could?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they pitched it to me. This director Daniel Ray, who made that film Heidi, and he's a Las Vegas-based filmmaker. So I don't remember where we met. It might have been, at a Vegas filmmaker, meetup or mixer or something like that, or maybe there's a Nevada film group on Facebook. So maybe it was through there. But one way or another, though, he said, creepy doll. I want to have a ballerina dancing while there's like a kind of like a break in the horror of the film. And I was like, all right, I think I have an idea for that. And so I went with, kind of like the whole childhood theme, but bringing it upbeat but keeping it scary because it is a horror movie.
Right. Awesome. And I don't want to take credit, but it might have been Polygram
It
because
might have been.
Daniel was Albert's editor for a while, Albert Pune's
Yeah.
editor, and so Road to Hell, Daniel was involved, and then after that, he was always giving me stuff for the festival. Of course, Heidi was a part of my Polygram Film Festival.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, great video, great song. Playtime is the name of it, and here it is from David Rosen.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for doing this. I really need to see myself on film so I can, critique it without having to look in the mirror the whole time.
Sure.
Okay, so this is the stereo. Just press play. I have everything set up, and then,
Just press play. Got it.
cool.
And here we go.
I was just looking right now. Heidi can be watched on Tubi.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth watching if you like found footage, if you like creepy dolls. Definitely everybody check that out. Tubi, watch it for free with ads. I love Tubi. I watch
Speaking
so
of
much stuff
Tubi, I
on there.
think I think there's like 5 or 6 movies that I've scored on there right
Nice,
now. So yeah, I'm
nice.
actually I'm planning on making a little section on my bydavidrosen.com website where like specifically for the feature length movies that you can watch on services
Right.
like Tubi. So, but yeah, I don't think I've seen that music video, the Heidi music video, in years.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, that was one that for whatever reason, just today it hit me. I was like, whatever happened to that Heidi video? And then I was searching. I was, oh, it's on Daniel's channel. It's not on David's.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a great video, great song. So, and a really cool movie. What were do you remember offhand any of the other ones that are available on Tubi? Like Bus Party Dale, is that one of them? Or
You know what? That might be. I know a couple of the Mahal's films are
yeah.
on Tubi, but I will say that "Move Me No Mountain" from director Deborah Richards is on there,
Mm,
and I talked about Chris Johnson earlier with Blind Malice. His feature films "Beater" and "Jacqueline," which I scored both of those, are on there. So
nice.
yeah, that's 3 right there that you could check out.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I'll have to check out Beater because I hadn't seen that one.
Right on.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
yeah, for sure. Super cool. Let me see here. With yeah, we definitely we got time for a couple more videos. I did want to tell the chat if there was anybody that had any questions for David. Definitely go ahead and type them in the chat, and we will get to them. Um, and one of the things I was curious about, and I'm sure there's some artists that might be curious because, you have your music from time to time where it shows up in like shows on ID and various
Hmm.
different places, like mostly like true crime type shows.
Yeah.
How does a musician go about doing that type of thing? What's kind of the process of that?
So it's basically it's the music library world of the whole end of music, but you basically there's all these different companies that they're called music libraries, and
Hmm.
some of them are exclusive and you have to give them exclusive rights to your music. Some of
Hmm.
them are non-exclusive. The ones that are exclusive are definitely, they get the better deals and stuff like that.
Right,
They're the ones who get me on the Discovery Channel and
right.
Investigative Discovery and History Channel and stuff like that. But yeah, basically you find these companies, you figure out what kind of music they're looking for, and if they're looking for the kind of music you make, you get in touch with them and see if they're looking for new artists. And
Nice.
I am a member now of 3 different companies like that, and it's an area of my career that I have not given the amount of attention I should because it's the most lucrative, and so I really
Right.
should. But at the same time, I'm sitting here making albums of space music that nobody knows what to do with, and scoring low budget horror films. But I should be doing more of that stuff.
Yeah.
But uh, I love it all, though. I love all the different
Yeah.
angles of music. But yeah, once you sign these deals with them, if they like the track that you send to them, and they'll put out calls for specific kinds of music, or
Hmm.
sometimes you could just pitch them like, hey, what do you think of this song? And either way, if they do take it on, then it becomes part of their repertoire of music
Right.
that they then pitch these shows, and they have like exclusive deals with the shows and with the
Right.
producers. And yeah, and they've got me on all these shows, and that stuff is really, really cool. And it's just
Yeah.
awesome to know that your music's getting used and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely super cool. Any certain shows you can think of off the top of your hand that are cool ones that you were like, oh, I got on that show that you could
Um,
think of?
I basically anything that involves murder on one of those. But no, the one that I think the most of my plays has come from is actually Homicide Hunter with.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember you telling me about that, which that's a cool show. So that
Yeah,
is
I've
awesome.
never actually watched it, but I one
Yeah.
day I gotta binge it because I'm in like every episode. I wonder if
It's a cool show.
I wonder if I'm in
no,
like
that's
the
awesome.
title track or something. I don't know because I'm seriously in every episode. But yeah, a bunch of shows like that though, where somebody's like
Yeah.
investigating, true
Yeah.
crime and stuff.
Yeah. What about Trafficked? Because I'm now obsessed with that show.
I'm gonna have to check.
That would be the coolest if you were
Yeah.
on that show.
Yeah.
But that's National Geographic
It's
show.
possible. It's very
Yeah.
possible. I know I'm on something called Hunting Hitler. That sounds like along the same lines.
Awesome. Hello, Miss High. Good to see you here. And thank you all that have come by today. Roque and Fish and Blue Unicorn, Camellia, Justine Kasprick, Kirk Kasprick. Like I said, do have a couple more songs. We are going to wrap up at the 2 hour mark. But I did pick out a couple of tracks that I wanted to feature that I thought were cool and creepy. Broken Circuits, good
Nice.
song, creepy, good video, and this is one that I know had to do with a paranormal investigator like a series that was getting pitched around.
Yeah.
Was the video yours, or he did the video, or
He did the video. He used a whole bunch of like B-roll from the show,
Right.
all kinds of footage that he shot for the Paranormal Encounters, paranormal investigation show, and put this whole thing together. And I had done music for the show. I had done some
Right.
of the background music and the theme music, so it was kind of a trade situation. And
Right.
this is one that got into a bunch of festivals, and this one did quite well.
Yeah, and that's also something that I love. All the ghost hunting shows and things like that. And there's so much of that now, like on the Roku channel and Tubi and Pluto. So I'm just like, I put that stuff on to go to bed at night.
More content.
Murder and ghosts. That's my go-to for sleep time. So
Nice.
I probably hear some David Rosen music from time to time. Don't even
I
know
bet
it.
you do. Bet you do.
So here we go. Broken Circuits from David Rosen. Oh yeah, love dark and creepy, and that song's perfect for those visuals. So cool.
I think when I made that song, that was like the moment where I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm finally ready to make an album." Like,
Nice.
because that was my first album, and like I was like, "Yeah, I'm there. I'm good." Because I had been making music for like 10 years already at that point, and I just didn't put
Right.
an album out yet.
Well, and let's touch on that. So, when did you first start, like, not even, just getting serious with music, but when did you first, like, get into music?
It was 1997. I was a senior in high school, and I just got a keyboard and I got Cakewalk Pro Audio 4 for anybody who knows the music
Nice.
software, and yeah, I just started dinking around on it. I didn't really know what I was doing at all.
Right.
I eventually found this guy who gave me a few lessons on, just what channels are and what MIDI is and like just like the very very basics of how to do it, and then just started building my way from there.
Right. And you started out making like hip hop beats? Is that?
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah. I was aiming for, like, what you just heard in Broken Circuits. Like, I wanted to make, like, very industrial, heavy stuff with, like, distortion and guitars mixed with electronic stuff, and everything I was making just sounded like hip hop beats, and so I just kind of went on a long multi-year tangent of that. I was producing rappers here in Las Vegas and, making cool beats, and I still do a little bit of that stuff, but it certainly all has influenced everything that I do. But it was just like a long journey to, like, self-teaching myself how to make this
Right.
stuff.
And as far as like any sort of producing like with rappers or anything like that, I mean, have you done anything that like that in a while, or it's
Not really. I've got my comedy stuff that I
right,
will be doing more of at some point.
right.
Hint hint. But yeah, no, I haven't actually worked with any, quote unquote real rappers in quite a while. So it's been a few years.
So and not outside of like other ones, but you yourself have been a part of how many different? Like, I know a couple of different like comedy rap groups, like the Polar Bear MCs,
Hmm.
MC Random and Jewish Dave,
Oh yeah.
uh, Fakakta,
Hmm. Sure.
and then of course with I always forget the what's the one that you still
Poor
have going, the
poor demise. Yep.
Demise.
And we
Yes.
have an inside joke amongst our friends because sometimes we'll like name off all the members of the Polar Bear MCs and we always forget to name Demise. And so it's kind of perfect that you just forgot too. But yeah, yeah, no, Demise and D-Rocks is the other like offshoot of the Polar Bear MCs. And that one's
Mm,
still, yeah, I mean, we just started a new song like a couple weeks ago. Like we'll continue doing it until we're 80 and still
right.
rapping about butts and dicks and stuff. But that's it's out there. It'll
Right.
always be out there. It's the
Eh,
internet.
and then there's the Pup Pups, which the Pup Pups, I was told I have to bring up, have to discuss. So the
Yeah,
Pup Pups is basically this you know uh, passion project that you had worked on for 10 years or so, basically, writing songs about and from the perspective of your pets,
that's
essentially.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. Ever since Harvey and Sadie were just puppies, Sadie is no longer with us, of course, but Harvey's still kicking. He's 16 years old now, but also our cats as well. And yeah, these songs are just ridiculous. They range from like just straightforward rock to kind of like singer songwritery or folk or even into like punk rock and heavy
Hmm.
metal and just all over the place, all kinds of different guitar based music. And it's totally ridiculous. And yeah, it took me 15 years to make the first album just because I couldn't play guitar good enough. And and also I got sidetracked with all of my real music
Hmm.
projects. But yeah, it finally came out last year and I love it and it's the best. And even though it's a ridiculous side project, I might have another album before the end of the year because the past month, I have just, even though I'm trying to finish up that 2025 album I keep talking about, the
Hmm.
past month, instead of doing that, I've been doing nothing but working on new Pup Pup songs because they're in my head and I just want to get them out, and they're just they're so stupid and they're really fun. And yeah, you're gonna like some of these tracks. They're great.
Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, with any of this stuff, you got to be having fun with it. Being creative is a positive thing. Being creative and then sharing that with people, and then having fun with it at the same time. So, I mean, anytime I hear any of the Pup Pup songs or see the videos, I think anytime I share them too,
Yeah.
you cannot smile at it. Like you said, they are ridiculous. And sometimes when I play one of them, people are like, what is this? But yeah, no, it's so
I'm
good.
hoping to release the next one on Harvey's 17th birthday, so we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, he's still doing great, and maybe we'll have a an exclusive for you when you do a Halloween show later this year, because there
Oh,
is a Pup Pups Halloween song on the
oh,
album.
that is
So
awesome.
yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, I'm excited for that for sure. So, no questions from anybody hanging out in the chat. I see Phil Hogg here now. Good to see you, Phil. He's been lurking. No question from anybody. Just going to wrap things up here shortly. We do have one more song. I did want to give you the opportunity, David, though, to talk about anything that you want to, or share anything that we haven't touched base on.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, thank you so much for doing this, Chad. This was fun, and getting to look back at all this stuff. Yeah, the 24 for 2024, that's, like we were talking about, that's kind of the current thing this year. And I do have a spot I do have a Spotify playlist set up that I keep adding the tracks to. So that way you could kind of listen to it in a play order as they come out. I still haven't figured out how to do that on Apple Music. I got to figure that out. But anyway, the songs are going to just keep coming. Like I said, Brick by Brick is the next one, which will be out, I guess, this coming Friday. And then it just keeps going from there. Like I said, the first and third Friday of every month. And then that next album, Another Unexplained Phenomena, is like literally sitting about 80% done. I just need to put some finishing touches on some songs. And then I have some really cool artwork. We're talking about AI artwork earlier in the conversation, but I hired a real flesh and blood artist for the artwork
Mm,
on that one. And
nice.
it came out so cool. And so I'm super excited to share that artwork and the album and the music. Some of the best music I've ever made is on that album. And yeah, I'm super psyched about it. Hopefully I'll get some music videos going soon for that. And yeah, otherwise, just thank you everybody who's been tuning into this, and for everybody who's listening to my music.
Very cool. Yeah, and I wanted to say when I had this idea for doing the Ham Welcomes, you're definitely one of the people that I wanted to have on the show because the Headphones and Microphones Facebook group was basically inspired by you and your movie Facebook group,
Yeah,
Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces,
right.
because I wanted, I started to get involved with the YouTube music community, and I started meeting cool musicians, and I wanted to like a hangout place for them, kind of how we do in uh, the movie group. And
Yeah.
so I was like, what do I name it? And then I'm like, you know what? Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces is kind of a ridiculous name, but it
It is.
works somehow.
Mhm.
And that's basically the home base for the piecing it together podcast.
Right.
Anybody that is a fan of movies and so on Facebook should definitely join that group. A lot of great people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Okay, music, and not totally going in the popcorn and puzzle pieces, but I was like headphones and microphones, and then I can shorten it to ham, and I was like, that's perfect. So,
Yeah. You got to
so
have headphones and you got to have microphones if you're going to make music. So,
So I am really happy to have you a part of the Ham Welcomes show, and this was the second episode of this. I do want to keep moving forward with these. I think it's great to just get in depth with the musician. So very cool. Thank you so much for coming. I've known David since 2011.
Yeah,
It was the second Polygrind Film Festival. Was a ridiculous 1 million lash with Harvey in the video,
Yeah.
and
I should really take that video and just take the music out, the horrible, awful comedy rap, and make it a Pup Pups video.
and yeah, so lots of projects that David has been a part of or done. I've been a supporter of, and I'm glad that you've been a supporter of things that I do as well.
Absolutely.
And like I said, so happy to have you on the show. And to leave, I was gonna take us out with Lights in the Sky, which was a video you made out of uh, Internet Archive public domain footage,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
which for musicians that don't know, Internet Archive is a great place. It has gotten really cluttered with a lot. There's some stuff on there that's not actually public domain, so you
Yeah.
got to really look and be careful with what you're grabbing. But there is definitely a good resource for taking clips and making videos. This one's really cool. I thought it was appropriate because my end for this show is basically a spaceship flying off, and so this one, since it has the whole uh, possible UFO connection with the song, thought it was a good one, and it was one played at the Polygrind Film Festival as well. So
Absolutely. I also got the idea of doing a public domain footage-based video from the Polygrind Film
yeah.
Festival from President Wolfman.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, President Wolfman.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about inspiration and influence and the circle that just keeps on going and going and going. Um, as far as you, where can people find you though? Your Twitter and all of that good stuff.
Absolutely. Twitter is at by David Rosen. Instagram is at music by David Rosen. And then just look for David Rosen on Facebook. And my website is bydavidrosen.com. And I know you posted it in the chat a bunch, but my YouTube is youtube.com/music by David Rosen.
Yeah, and I'll make sure and list all of that in the notes and everything. But I'd like to have you shout that out. So anyway, I hope. Did I see Harvey in the
You
background
just
there?
did. Yeah. Oh my God. He lasted right to the very end. He's-
But can you show Harvey off real quick? So because since we've been talking about him,
Let me
or of
grab him.
course
I'm going to
he's
grab
probably
him.
he's probably going to be like, I don't want nothing to do with you right now. You're trying to trick me. Um, Harvey is the coolest. Um, and
There he is.
there he is. He
Say
definitely
hi to
looks like
everybody,
he's
Harvey.
been napping. He's been napping. He kind of looks mad. He kind of looks like the robot lady.
He's overdue for snackos. That's fine.
Good to see you, Harvey. Well, thank you again, David, for coming. Thank you all for watching today. Again, going to take us home with Lights in the Sky by David Rosen. And here it is.
Thanks, everybody.